Hello, and welcome to a very special episode of Swarmio eSports. I'm Jonathan Collins, and this week we wanted to focus on something that's been the talk of the Counter-Strike community lately: gambling. Between the cease and desist letters, websites shutting down, accusations of cheating, and a healthy dose of Twitch drama, I wanted to do a deep dive on exactly what's going on and what it could mean for the future. I reached out to Justin MacKay, who I met at a recent Counter-Strike Go tournament hosted by Swarmio, and he was kind enough to sit down with me and talk about what he thinks about some of the issues and why gambling might not be all bad. Here's our conversation. All right, I'm here today with Justin MacKay, aka Jay, who is a long-term competitive Counter-Strike player. Justin, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. Appreciate you having me on.
I appreciate you coming on to chat a little bit about the gambling scene in Counter-Strike and all the recent changes that have happened to that kind of scene recently. So for those people who aren't quite up on it, can you kind of give us a little bit of rundown what's been happening over the past 2 to 3 weeks?
Yeah, well, I mean, going back further than that, gambling is still very new. It's only probably been around for like 2-3 years max with CSGO. So now that there are skins involved in different colors that you can put on your guns and things like that, that's been the new craze that has brought in a new audience. So I feel that it blew up, and they have kind of scarce and rare items that are extremely expensive. They can be $10,000. Typically, like, items would go from like a few cents up to like $500, but you do have these very rare ones that can get into the thousands. And now recently, due to a few different scandals that have gone down and just tax reasons and other things, there's been Valve has kind of shut down all of these gambling sites like CSGO Lotto, CSGO Shuffle, Roulette. Pretty much any site that you can find, it's either out or on its way out, it seems. The only one kind of hanging on seems to be CSGO Lounge, and we talked about that earlier.
But before we came on here, there's been some recent developments in them changing the way their business model kind of works, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, I want to ask you, how do these $1,000 skins, these $500 skins, get their value? Is it just scarcity in that particular product?
There's different levels. So you get a case that gets dropped usually in your games, and you can open that case for like $3. Okay. Or Canadian, it's $3, which is probably like 50 cents American.
Probably.
But anyway, so you open up your case and you have a chance at getting a specific skin, and it can start at a very common skin, which would be like a normal grade, and then you get up to
and those are your ones grades that you said like would be like
a few cents. Yeah, the more common, the more easily distributed, and the more people have them. Like, there's different colors associated. So red would be like your covert or rare item. Okay. And then there's knives that pop out that are extremely rare as well. Okay. And they can range from like $50 to thousands of dollars.
So do you have any idea how rare these skins are? Like, what are the chances of one of these dropping off the top of your head, or
like
is that something
less than 1%? Like, you see people on there open up 100 cases and no knives can pop out. They could get no covert items. They could go just straight normal 5-cent items every time, and they had to pay $3 each time. So you can see how you can lose quite a bit of money doing this, but those rare items can make up for it all. So it can get quite bad when you have 13 and 14-year-old kids putting money on their Steam and credit cards and doing this.
So people are essentially going on these gambling sites and using their skins as collateral, more or less?
Yeah, so originally, the way we just described, with the case getting dropped and opening up a skin, that all happens through Steam and Counter-Strike on its own.
Right.
But then there's these new sites that are set up where you can put your skin up versus, so say it's worth $100. Somebody else, like a coin flip site, one was CSGO Lotto, you put up the same amount of value of skins for another $100 worth. Could be 2 skins or 20 skins. And then they'll do a coin flip. Whoever wins gets all of them, minus a draw of like 5 or 10% or whatever it is to the website.
Okay.
So one person's gonna luck out, and the other person is not. And then there's a couple other formats. There's roulette, pretty much just how roulette runs. If it's red, if it's black, whoever wins.
Okay.
Those sites do it different. You don't you kind of buy like diamonds or buy credits, and then if you win, you get rewarded in credits.
Okay.
And at the very end, you can then purchase something from the site in credits.
So you're exchanging your skins for credits.
Skins for credits. Okay. Or I believe you can even just buy credits with your credit card.
Sure. Yeah. So besides those type of sites, the sites that are straight up like coin flip or roulette, there's a lot of other sites that allow you to gamble on the outcome of matches with skins, right?
Yeah. So one would be CSGO Lounge. And that's been one of the first gambling sites around, and it's been very popular because you're able to kind of do an analysis before the game, look at the lineups, go to Reddit, go wherever, figure out who you think's going to win. There'll be percentages attached based on who's betting where. So it could be like 93% favor for Fnatic versus a tier 2 team, or in that case probably like 97%, and therefore you're gonna, if you put down $10, you're gonna get a very minor return if you bet on Fnatic.
Right.
But if you bet on the underdog, you could get like 100 times your bet or get something crazy.
So this is pretty much equivalent to what you'd see in traditional sports betting, like your Pro Line or things
except
like that,
you're paid out in skins rather than in dollars. So you get paid out in skins, and the thing is, if you bet on the overdog in those some of those sites, if you don't put enough down, they're paying you out from the other people. So if 90,000 people all bet on Fnatic and only 5,000 people bet on the other, and there's not enough to pay out all of the people who bet on Fnatic, they pay the biggest wagerers first. And sometimes you may not even get anything.
Right.
So you have to put down.
So there's a little bit of an
wager.
Incentive to wager more for matches like that.
I think there's a max bet of like $300, or there used to be when I was doing it, because I'll admit I was on there doing it as well.
Yeah, that's fair. Tell me what's been going on between CSGO Shuffle and Phantom Lord recently. A lot of talk about that in the community.
Yeah, so that's a really hot topic right now. I don't have all the answers here, but
no, I don't think anybody does at this point.
Phantom Lord's been pretty quiet since all this has happened. But from what we saw with like Richard Lewis and some other interviews here, that the data points to him actually being an owner of CSGO Shuffle. And there's conversations between him and the web developer, kind of asking him to let him know when the percentages are at a certain point so that he is more likely to win. And it's showing fraud, and it's showing a lot of that's why he may be going to court. And
he'll be streaming this as well when the percentage is high, right?
Biggest problem with all of this is he's using it to make money. He's using it to make videos on YouTube to show he'll get 1 million views because he lost $20,000 on a bet. But did he really lose $20,000 on the bet if he's playing with house money?
Yeah, and he's really misrepresenting the odds of winning on these particular sites.
Same thing when he's betting $100 and winning $20,000, and he isn't really just by chance winning it. So he's a very good actor, if that's the case. So.
But he's not the only one who is pulling this kind of stunt, right? Like there were some others who were involved in the same kind of.
Yeah, he's been the biggest topic as of late. I just how everything's came out, but the person who really kind of shone the light on all this would have been Mo back maybe just a few weeks ago as well. So that was with CSGO Diamonds, and with CSGO Diamonds, he was getting kind of replenished skins. He was trying to advertise for them. He wasn't an owner, but he was trying to help bring up their brand. And so his defense is that he wanted to be kind of sent X amount of skins at the start of the day or the start of his stream so that he could play on there for a while and get viewership. But when he would get low or lose his skins, rather than him just replenish him, which is, I guess, what he had claimed other streamers had been doing, they would just kind of let him know the numbers of the next spins so that he would be able to just magically win $10,000 on his own.
So they weren't quite fixing it, but he just had like an insider.
That would still be fixing it.
Yeah.
If you're giving him the next 20 numbers and you know what you're going to win and you can bet what you want, that's pretty much fixed.
No, I guess it straight up is fixing. Yeah.
A little bit. That'd be worse than Martha Stewart stuff. So I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But that was the situation there. However, since they weren't willing to pay him out one time, he let them know, I'm gonna pretty much rat you guys out and let everybody know what you're doing, and he did. So as much as everybody pushes on Mo and gets angry at Mo for this, in his defense, he's now helped shine the light on this.
That's
helped
true.
A lot of people kind of open up and understand what's really going on. Where are these skins really going? What's happening? So that little kids aren't all betting, thinking you're going to win $10,000 if you just keep trying for 50 times. And anyway, in the end, this is kind of led into maybe Phantom Lord and people to actually dig deeper and kind of find this stuff out.
Yeah, to see how many of these sites are actually paying Twitch and YouTube streamers to use their services on stream and promote them to their audiences as well.
Yep. No, that's really, I think it's all going to be positive for the future. I still hope that they have the ability to bet. I mean, it brings viewers. If you look at sports, if you didn't have betting, I'm sure the Super Bowl wouldn't be quite as big as it is. It'd still be big though. But now I do think that the changes will become positive long term from all this, even if it is just kind of a halo of negativity right now.
So let's say that going forward, because right now none of these straight up lotto sites are back online yet. Do you see that affecting the value of skins in the skin market?
That could be a complete turnaround. Like if you have a $10,000 skin right now, its value is so high because you can easily get the money back. Like $10,000 would be hard to get back, but I mean,
sure.
you have a high percentage chance of getting your money back because you can either try to sell it on a site like OP Skins for 80%, 70% of the value. That's just a place where you can buy skins at a discounted value, which I'm sure Valve isn't a big fan of.
Probably.
And then there's if you can't be trading and use these specific skins for rebetting purposes and things like that, I just feel the value of each skin, every skin, will go down eventually, unless sites like CSGO Lounge and places start to get gambling licenses and keep this alive.
So we did see that today, or yesterday, I guess it was, when the press release came out that the CSGO Lounge had applied for a gambling license in a number of areas, not the U.S. right now. I don't know if that's something that they actually can pursue.
Is Canada on that list? Do you know?
I didn't get a chance to see the full list. There was a lot of countries on there that they were going for, but of course a lot more that they can't go for to actually go legit on this thing. So this is one of the reasons we figure that Valve shut that down, because they kind of wanted to regulate the market a little bit, because before a couple weeks ago there was absolutely no regulation in this skins market at all. Right.
Yep. No, I mean, I think if they can get that license, it's going to only help their publicity, because now they'll be the only place to go.
Yeah.
But it's still going to cut down, like inventory values should still go down if all of these other sites are removed, unless everybody is on that same playing field where you can have 50 gambling sites or 100, just like they used to, which I don't think will be the case in the future.
Yeah.
It'll be very hard to keep the values rising and rising. It's because there was so much demand. There's always supply and demand with the economics of that, and the amount of viewership was up. You'd see with some of these DreamHack ESL that you could have 1 million people watching one of these games, and it's not necessarily because 1 million people love this team or love Counter-Strike. It's because 1 million people love betting and love gambling and love knowing if they're going to make money, and that, I think, makes up for a large percentage of the viewership, and some of the reasons why it's expanded to TBS on E-League and some of the places that Counter-Strike has gone to now, and why it's surpassed other video games.
So going forward, do you think that we'll see a significant drop in Counter-Strike Go tournament viewing from the general public?
Hopefully not. I mean, I'm a diehard Counter-Strike fan, going back to like the betas and 1.6, 1.5, whatever it is. You're always, if you play the game, you're a fan, you'll probably still watch the main events and things like that. But I think the viewership for tier 2 and tier 3 games will go down dramatically if there's not a lot to have betting. It's just, people would watch a game with your team versus my team where they had no interest before watching it, if they could bet on it, and they had some sort of insider information on their own end to know that player's this player will likely win based on this and this reason, or their team and stats.
And the stats for those matches are likely to be closer than those other matches that you're talking about, where like Fnatic is 97, 95% to win a particular match. You can actually usually bet on either team in one of these cases and get a decent return.
And the numbers aren't fixed analyzed numbers, whereas like if you bet with Proline or Pinnacle Sports, some website, you're going to have like a spread, and you're going to have a specific like 2-to-1 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
On these sites, they're fluctuating based on the actual betting that's occurring, and people try to rig that too, because you can switch your bet last minute on a lot of these sites.
Okay.
So if 90% of people decide to bet on the underdog against Fnatic, and then they see that the balance is almost 50-50 or something because of what they did, they'll shift all their votes back last minute and try to get paid out higher.
That's kind of a scumbaggy type move.
Yeah, that stuff happens, but I mean, one person can't do it. It's
that's
a lot of people trying to catch those things at the last minute. And then there was match fixing in the past we've heard about with iBuyPower, and a lot of those players had actually been banned from playing in Valve and any Valve sponsored tournaments, and I don't think that ban's even lifted yet. It's not with Steel and AZK and Dazed and some of those players.
So going forward, you think that these sites trying to find a resolution to this problem would be a good thing, as long as there's more regulation involved in this type of thing?
Yeah, it's good because it brings an audience in, but it needs to be controlled.
Yeah,
and the control and constraints aren't really there to help with that kind of age group of 13 to 19.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the bigger problems with this, and one of the reasons why it was brought to light in a lot of communities, because of the underageness of some of the people who are using these sites.
Yeah, and I mean, if you date it back to that iBuyPower kind of scandal everybody talks about, yes, there was mistakes made by Dazed and Steel and some of those players, but there was many match fixings going on. There could have been 20 more that we weren't brought to light, and they took the fall for that. But really, a lot of it could have been put on Valve and on gambling, and just in general, they threw a match and they got banned for like life. But really, it is because there was so much money on the line is what happened, and they didn't. I mean, they did have money involved themselves. So yeah, there are a lot of bad things too. I'm saying there's more contributing factors than what.
But you're saying there's quite a number of positives as well for esports as a whole.
Yeah, good things have came from what's from the last kind of 2 months of this, and I think at least the spotlight being pushed on it will protect a lot of players in the future that had been betting, if there is betting in the future.
Cool. Well, that's great, Justin. Thanks very much for phoning in and talking to us about that today, bringing us up to speed and giving us some opinions on what you think about Counter-Strike and esports gambling in general.
Yes, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Oh, anytime. So we'll talk to you again soon. Get an update in a couple of weeks' time, maybe.
Thank you.
All right. Well, there you have it. Hopefully, if you are not up to speed on what's been going on in the world of Counter-Strike and esports gambling, this will help give you some insight into the issues. And don't forget to stay tuned to Swarmio Esports for updates to this and other news stories from the world of esports. And as always, if you would like to contact us, you can email us esports@swarmio.tv or tweet us @swarmiotv. I'm Jonathan Collins. Thanks for watching.